We will continue with the board meeting. 8.0, approval of agenda. May I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda for the regular meeting of the Board of Education scheduled for Wednesday, September 30th, 2015?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. The motion carries 5-0. 9.0 resolutions, there are none. 10.0 communications, calendar of meetings. The next regular board meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, October 21st, 2015 at 7 p.m. here at Central Middle School, with an anticipated closed session at 6 p.m. 10.02 board liaison reports. Anyone?
I had the opportunity to go hear Gary Marks talking about his 21 trends, and was just very pleased to hear his remarks. And as we sit here, even as school board members or as parents, and trying to think about what the future looks like for education, his book is very interesting. I gave it to my son to read and say, here, this is what you need to read. He's like, yeah, thanks, Mom, let me get back to whatever. So, but I was very impressed by him. Thank you, Dr. Marty, for bringing him in. So I really welcomed his remarks.
Since your son is going to be one of those graduates in, what is that, 20?
He will be 2020.
Yeah, and then he's going to be 65 in what, 20, was that 20, what did Gary say?
2063.
2060,
Yeah,
like
I
that,
don't
so,
know, yeah.
I just want to say, Gary had a wonderful time in Parkway, and he was very complimentary of the opportunities he had, and the students he met, the staff, community members. He was very complimentary of our addressing some of the future needs. Not all of them, perhaps, but that we're certainly being attentive. So he had a great time here, and I really enjoyed him, and I think a lot of our folks that had a chance to work with him did. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
I had the pleasure of attending the Spark pitch competition. That is just a phenomenal, I mean, if you have not experienced the Spark pitch, it's amazing what these kids accomplished in such a short time of coming up with the concept, making calls, and putting this little presentation together. And if you haven't seen it, I mean, one of these, the cold shoulder blanket, I'm in, sign me up. But there's about a dozen projects here that they're all the ideas, and it was really amazing. I know several of us were there. I have another one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a list here. I went to the North Early Childhood Center open house. What a neat facility, and they fixed that up so quickly, and I'm very proud to have that facility up there. And it was a great tour. If I was a little kid, I'd want to go there and play. And let me see, the West High College Fair. I attended the West High College Fair, packed. I don't think there was a parking spot available all along that school and over towards the middle school. But it was a great function. It was great to see colleges that we've all been to. And I'll finish with this one. Band competition. I went to Parkway. It was a band competition at Lafayette, and it was Central, West, and South were competing there. West took second in their division, South took third in their division, and South overall took 6th out of 10 in the finals. So very proud of those band kids.
Well, I went to the Spark thing too. That's always great. But I went and saw the truly awesome scoreboard at Parkway North. Now I can walk out my backyard and hear the football games. But it was really neat. It was great. And I think a bunch of us attended a rather spirited seminar on the health and physical education curriculum last night. So that was always fun. So.
Beth, do you have anything?
I would only be repeating what my colleagues have already said.
Thank you very much. I'd have to say at the college fair, it was so exciting. There was so much energy in that building that night in that gymnasium. I wanted to sign up for college again. It was exciting to see schools from all over the nation there, and having a great time talking to some of our students and their parents. Just yesterday, Dr. Marty and I attended the ceremony for the Blue Ribbon Award at McKelvey Elementary. And my, that was wonderful. We had two of our state representatives there, Sue Meredith and Bill Otto, as they helped to present resolutions to the kids. But 400 kids or so on the gymnasium floor. They're so well behaved, and when they, at the end, they put a video up that they would cheer certain things, and then they started singing in unison, Best Day of My Life, and they would do that, ooh, 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 ooh. And they all did, 400 did it together, and, well, a lot better than I did, but they were just wonderful, and they were so proud of what they had accomplished, and there's a lot involved in that, not just the academics, but the way that they treat each other, the character-based things that they do in that school. And I talked to some of the teachers afterwards and complimented them, and they said, well, the reason this works is because we do everything the same. We treat kids the same, we discipline them the same, we challenge them the same, we're all on the same page as we work with these kids. So if that's what Blue Ribbon Schools are all about, then we're in good hands when we have 3 of them now in our district.
Actually, 4.
4.
We can't forget.
Oh, I can't forget West Middle.
Yeah, West Middle. We needed, West Middle. Well, yesterday, we just need to say that Arnie Duncan, United States Secretary of Education, announced the Blue Ribbon winners, and Parkway has 2. We had 2 last year, Mason and Henry, and now, as Mr. Jacob said, McKelvey and West Middle School. So Dr. Meredith is going to be accompanying those schools to Washington, D.C., I think the second weekend in November, and both West Middle and McKelvey will be honored as this year's recipients, probably among 300 to 400 students nationwide, or schools nationwide. So very fortunate. Parkway's had, if you take those 16 schools that have been Gold Star schools the last year, we have 4 of them who have Gold Star first and then Blue Ribbon. So quite an honor, quite a tribute to our community, to our staff, as Chris said, who worked very, very hard, and certainly to our students. Can't forget them and their good work and their achievement.
It's a lot of work, a lot of teamwork, when you consider that there are over 25,000 schools that theoretically are in competition for this kind of award. Also, we had a subcommittee meeting with the finance people and HR, and that was wonderful. I think one of the parts I enjoyed the most was they're almost ready to show to the entire board, but we got to see a sneak peek of what's coming up next year for the bond, and specifically the things that they intend to do at North High School over the next 2 summers. And that's only about half the work that'll get done, but it's marvelous what we're going to be able to do there, and to improve that school. They'll be the second school to get a food court. So anyway, that was wonderful. And then the Student Services Subcommittee too. Were you here for that? No?
It's not my committee.
I went because, was it you that, somebody couldn't go? You were, okay, you want to talk about it, or just?
You can, I talked about plenty.
Well, nothing happened there. No, Chelsea does a wonderful job of helping us understand what she's doing in the area of character education, and trying to support our students, and with some very, very difficult issues at times. And some of those are exacerbated by the fact that we are Title IX recipient also, so we have to look at some of the federal laws too but thank you. We always enjoy those meetings at your office, and appreciate very much you keeping the board updated on what you're doing. There is an upcoming subcommittee meeting with the Teaching, Learning, and Accountability. That will be on October 15th at 3 p.m. for those that are on that subcommittee. 11.0 action items. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented in the September 30th, 2015 board materials? Second. May I have a second? Is there anything to be pulled to action or closed of these consent items? All right. If not, then all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The motion carries 5-0. And 12.0. This is Mrs. Patty Bedborough, our CFO. If there are any questions from the board members for her on the adoption of the 2015-2016 tax rate. We had a meeting a little earlier, a tax rate hearing, but if there are any questions that have come to your mind that you would like to ask her, she did a pretty complete job. There were 18 frames, and compliment you again for the completeness and helping us understand. And I'm really proud of, too, to say that the recruitment funds will be going there to, I didn't know how we were going to rebuild the fund balance, but this goes a long ways towards doing that, and it'll strengthen the district in many, many ways. So if there are no questions, and I don't see any, then may I have a motion and a second that the Board of Education adopt the tax rates by category as presented, and the blended tax rate for the Parkway School District for 2015-2016 in the amount of up to 4.4880 to be distributed with a special revenue fund rate of $2.59.87, general fund rate of $1.3993, capital projects rate is 0, and the debt service fund a rate of 49 cents.
So moved.
Second.
Nikki, if we could have a roll call on that.
Mrs. Applebaum?
Yes.
Mr. Applebaum?
Yes.
Mrs. Feldman?
Yes.
Mrs. Hopper?
Yes.
Mr. Jacob?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Patty. 13.0 policy review, there are none tonight. 14.0 reports. This is a preliminary conversation on the Fine Arts Program evaluation. I'd like to call on Dr. Nathan Tyson, who is our Director of Data Management and Research.
Good evening, Board of Education. President Jacob, Board of Directors, Dr. Marty, Mrs. Stover, very good to see you all this evening. We are here to talk about and go through the preliminary discussion or conversation for the Fine Arts Program evaluation. I was hoping, though, maybe to break it up into 2 parts, and so maybe this first part is just kind of a general refresher on program evaluation, and then we'll jump into the Fine Arts Program evaluation conversation. So to start here, if you wouldn't mind directing your attention to the screen, I have about a 1-minute video that I just wanted us to watch together, and then a brief commentary afterwards.
1 minute, 1 minute, please. Time, thank you. Could you all please put down your pens and bring your papers to the front of the room? Thank you. Well done. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, too late. Gave you plenty of warnings about time. You failed. Sorry.
Excuse me, do you know who I am?
I had absolutely no idea.
Good.
So
Good job.
I would really, in addition to this being a funny 1999 commercial for the lottery in New Zealand, it's a great metaphor for program evaluation in Parkway. And so I just want to explain that for a moment. First of all, I would say that the teacher, professor represents, in this particular video that we watched, inflexibility and rigidity, reluctance to change, the old guard. We've always done it this way, that kind of mentality. Really, for this teacher, it was more about the content and the rules and the traditions than it was about the students and the student learning, than it was about knowing the students' names. The teacher is, in this one, more of that sage on the stage versus the guide on the side. I mean, he was right in front, he was in control, he was in charge. And rather than there being sort of this fun, happy learning environment, it was really a hostile environment and sort of a gotcha approach to education. And so, of course, I think, too, that the connection to mission that this professor/teacher demonstrated was very weak, if present at all. And so, but I think on the other hand, if you look at the student, I think the student represents something very different. The student represents one who is capable and confident and curious, represents the Parkway mission. I would say his capability lies in that he used his brain to figure out that since the professor didn't know his name, He wouldn't be able to find the exam in the middle of the stack of papers. Also, the student was thinking several moves ahead of the professor, kind of like a chess master would, so I think very capable. I also think confident. He stood up to the professor while remaining as cordial as possible, given the circumstances. I think he was curious. First, he identified the problem, right? My teacher, you know, if my paper doesn't get in the stack of papers, I'm going to get an F. And so I've got to get my paper in the stack of papers, so how do I do this? What can I try? And ultimately, he came up with the solution to the problem. I think the student also represents a challenge to the status quo, represents pushing back against unreasonable ideas or positions that are rooted, that are not rooted in common sense. I think the student has kind of this refreshingly clever reaction and response to something completely absurd. And I think really in a nutshell, the student represents our program evaluation process. Now I would say, of course, you know, we're kind of exaggerating here. So in Parkway, you know, Parkway is nothing like this because our teachers are fantastic and we have great teachers and they have great classroom management strategies and they connect their work to the mission and they love the kids. But I still think that the take-home message applies here, which is, you know, really program evaluation is meant to uncover or discover the areas needing attention and the areas that we really need, and how we're going to pay attention to those areas, and really a pushback against some of the status quo. And really in our program evaluation process, the areas needing attention present themselves as part of our main findings, and then also how we pay attention specifically to those areas, those are found in the recommendations. So I just thought that that video was maybe a good way to just kind of recap, hopefully, kind of our big idea for program evaluation and how we want to keep pushing to make sure that our district is the best it can be when it comes to mission and then when it comes to students and student learning. So that all having been said, I'm going to go ahead and plug in here. We're going to switch over. I think if I do that catalyst control. There we go. Thank you. Okay, fine arts program evaluation. As usual, you know, we're going to go through, we had a really fantastically large group of fine arts teachers coming together, and they did a great job, and I think we had over 100. And they just really did a great job brainstorming and coming to consensus around our main topics and then also around our guiding questions. So first of all, though, I would offer some thanks, as usual. Jeff Lackey, who's going to be really the one kind of heading up this particular program evaluation. Desi Kirchhofer, Lisa Meredith, the fine arts teachers, Project Parkway participants, members of the Board of Education, all those who are or will become involved in this program evaluation. Here are the main topics that the group settled on: curriculum, assessments and achievement, resources, communication, and facilities. First main topic is curriculum. Is the curriculum vertically aligned for all fine arts K-12? And is it aligned with state and national standards? And is the curriculum equitable for all students? Is the curriculum relevant to an ever-changing global community? Does the curriculum foster curiosity and creativity? Does the curriculum prepare students for future artistic endeavors and/or careers? Assessments and achievement, main topic number 2. Do our current assessments adequately reflect student knowledge? Are our current assessments authentic to content area? And are they grade level appropriate? Do our assessments meet the needs of all students? Continue on. Are our students able to effectively express their content knowledge through their product/performance? Does student product performance meet or exceed community expectations? Are our students competitive and recognized at a high level? And how do our current Parkway systems and structures allow for maximum student achievement and involvement in fine arts? Main topic 3 is on resources. Are resources distributed across levels, schools, and programs to ensure equity in student development and learning? Do teachers have up-to-date and relevant technology that they are trained to use? Do our resources and learning environment match the curricular needs? Is professional development accessible, effective, relevant, and timely? Main topic 4 is communication. Is communication effective and timely among members of the community? How effectively is Parkway's Fine Arts program connected to the community? How much does the community know about the Fine Arts program? And finally, facilities. How do Parkway Fine Arts instructional spaces support a high-quality fine arts curriculum? How do Parkway Fine Arts performance spaces and exhibition spaces support a high-quality fine arts curriculum? How does existing technology within the facilities support a high-quality fine arts curriculum? And finally, how do Parkway Fine Arts facilities support and integrate community activities and performances? So that's what we have to date. Obviously, we're very interested in the Board of Education's thoughts. Members of the board, if you have any, anything that you think maybe we should include as part of the study. If there's a main topic that we're missing, we'd love to hear it. If there are some guiding questions or some things that we should be also considering as we go through this fine arts program evaluation, it'd be great to hear. I will say not only did Jeff coordinate having the teachers all come together, over 100 of them, which was just fantastic, but he also took and shared at Project Parkway. We didn't have a large turnout there among parents, but we did have a representation of parents, and so we were able to go through everything I just went through tonight and get the parents' perspective as well. So I think Jeff kind of coordinated and doing a good job getting some good feedback already this far in the process. But again, we're very happy to hear from you all, and if there's something that we're missing that maybe we should be including.
Nathan, I just have a question for you. In part of this, are we looking at how fine arts might enjoy partnerships with some of those that especially are in the fine arts area?
You mean outside of the school district?
Yes.
I think that's a great area to explore. I don't think it was contained in any of those guiding questions specifically, but we will certainly include that if that's something you're interested in us including.
Well, I think it's a great way for some of these kids, especially in the drama and some of those areas, to get introduced to real, well, the plays and things they do are real, but here's some things of larger venue that might end up being part of their livelihood.
Okay, good feedback.
It's amazing how great minds work. Because I think that's missing, and I mean, we've got stages here, we've got so many resources, just wonderful, rich, and somewhere embedded in there could be an opportunity, I think, to find out if there's more we could do in partnering, but also the career aspect, which I think was contained in there a little bit. But
yeah.
I think there's some great opportunities to have mentors.
The partnering, yeah,
and
definitely.
have experience for our kids. So I really think that would be an area to explore.
Okay.
I hope Jeff agrees.
I'm sure he,
'Cause
I'm
he's been-
sure
he's
he
been-
does.
He's been active in some of that already. So.
Experiential learning with the Spark and all that stuff. I mean, obviously, I think that the more hands-on kids get with regards to, I mean, not just theater, but all other kinds of, I mean, I'm thinking just like graphic design, that sort of thing. So there's a pretty wide spectrum you're looking at here. It's a big undertaking.
Is there anything in our graduate surveys that follows students that were really active in the fine arts in high school, our honors choirs, our actors, our stage management, all of those kids, if they're able to pursue that type of learning and perhaps that type of career, one leading into another in college, or do they just kind of do it because they're interested in high school, but when they get to college, they move on?
And I think that's a great point. We, with the graduate survey, I don't think we really touch on that probably to the degree you're thinking of, but that's a great point because in the past, during program evaluations, we have chosen to survey graduates, especially 1, 2, or maybe 3 years out, and we've gotten great feedback from them. So I think maybe as we approach this program evaluation, we can keep in mind a targeted survey out
Right.
to graduates,
Right.
asking questions that are
Well,
getting at what you...
fine arts students, kids that were real active in fine arts.
Sounds good.
And then you don't have to bother the rest of them.
There you go.
It just struck me too that sometimes there are wonderful people who are from the St. Louis area who have gone on and done well. for example, John Goodman, Kevin Kline, are wonderful actors.
John Hamm.
John Hamm.
I'm sorry, did I say that loud enough? John Hamm?
He just got an Emmy, finally. It just seems like maybe this is something that, maybe it's outside of this too, but these might be people that could be approached that could either come in and speak to our fine arts students, or maybe in some way they could help us figure out a way to, maybe there's I don't know, just some way to get them involved so that our kids feel like there's a real connection to, and I think they might be willing to do something for their hometown.
It's a good idea.
Even though they're not Parkway grads.
Well, we just had a Hall of Famer who I graduated with that wound up getting a job doing all the music for like video games and that sort of thing. It was really interesting.
Yeah, that is. It's great.
Any other questions?
Nathan, I have one more.
Sure.
I was really interested in cross-curricular work. I was invited to attend a program here that the art teacher did in connection with an English language arts class in 8th grade, where they studied the Holocaust through their reading and through their artwork. And the culmination of the program, they had a Holocaust survivor who speaks to local audiences frequently come in and talk to this one particular class of kids. And I have never in my life seen children so moved by something that they experienced in class. And I'm wondering if we have any other cross-curricular programs out there that could really move kids. I mean, these kids were standing in line to meet this woman and they were crying. It was really amazing. And their artwork and their writing, just really, really wonderful. So I'd love to see that in other places.
That's good comment.
Lisa would know. I mean, well, there's been kind of a subtle movement about STEM and then STEAM, right? Adding that arts component. So I know there's good questions on the curriculum, but I don't know if there's a way. I think that's kind of what Mrs. Feldman's talking about, is that integration with other areas. It's STEAM, isn't it? It's kind of STEAM, yeah. The extension of STEM, right, into the arts.
There you go. Good.
Any other questions? I think it's a fantastic start, and if we can answer those things successfully and come up with plans,
Yeah.
there's no doubt that the program, that the fine arts will improve dramatically.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
I wanted to recognize a couple of other students who were here that I missed earlier. These are from Fontbonne. I don't know if they're in close proximity to Washington University, but we appreciate having you here. One's a Parkway West grad, right? That's correct. So, and they want to be teachers, so we're awfully glad to have you here tonight. And in fact, I think they're studying curriculum and how it's developed, so the lady on the front here in red could really help you a lot.
She does have enough to do.
All right, thank you very much. Work session 15.0, there is none. 16.0, call for a special meeting, there is none. The next scheduled closed session, it's anticipated that will be held on Wednesday, October 21st, 2015 at 6 p.m. here at Central Middle School. Details of the closed session will be posted within 24 hours of the anticipated meeting. 18.0 recess, no. I'm going to ask 20.0 here for a motion and a second to adjourn the regular meeting, and we will continue in closed session in the library. So all in favor, first motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you very much. All in favor? Aye. The motion carries 5-0, and we are adjourned from the regular session.